Most people think confidence arrives loudly, with bold words, with raised voices, with someone finally being seen. But real confidence usually begins where no one is watching, in silence, in hesitation, in the moments a person almost speaks and then doesn't. This is not a story about sudden success. It is a story about a man who spent most of his life disappearing and the quiet moment when he decided to stop. Every morning before the town fully woke up, a government bus rolled onto the road between two small districts. Its paint was faded, its windows rattled when it turned, and inside it stood a man named Kieran. Kieran was 41. He had worked on this same route bus for nearly 20 years, not as a driver, not as a supervisor, just a conductor. Every day he punched tickets, called out stops in a low, careful voice, watched villages pass by through dusty glass. People boarded, people left. Life moved, drivers changed, routes changed, even buses changed. Kieran stayed the same. Most passengers barely noticed him. They spoke over him, interrupted him, sometimes ignored him completely. When someone argued about a fare, Kieran stepped back. When confusion broke out, he waited for others to decide. To outsiders, he looked calm, patient, humble. But inside, something else lived. A constant fear of being wrong, of choosing badly, of becoming the reason things fell apart. Kieran told himself this was humility, that staying quiet was wisdom, that stepping back meant respect. But deep down, it was fear wearing a gentle mask. One afternoon, the bus was running late. The sun was high, the road narrow, fields stretched endlessly on both sides. Halfway through the route, the driver suddenly pulled over. His face was pale, his hands were shaking. He couldn't continue. The bus stopped between villages. No shops nearby, no signal, no shade. At first, there was confusion, then irritation, then voices began to rise. Passengers stood up, questions flew in every direction, children cried. An argument started near the front. A replacement driver arrived, young, impatient, overwhelmed. He argued with villagers who had gathered nearby. He made promises he couldn't keep. He lost control quickly. The tension thickened. Everyone looked around for someone to take charge. No one looked at Kieran. He stood there, holding his ticket machine, watching the situation unravel. His heart beat faster. Because Kieran knew this road. He knew the nearby villages. He knew which mechanic lived close. He knew what needed to be done. But knowledge is useless when fear keeps your mouth closed. So he stayed silent. Minutes passed. Voices grew sharper. The heat pressed down harder. Then, from the back of the bus, an elderly woman spoke. Not loudly, not angrily, just enough. "You see everything, son," she said softly. "Why do you hide?" The words were simple, but they landed heavily. Kieran felt them settle somewhere deep inside his chest. He did not answer. He did not move. Eventually, help arrived from elsewhere. The bus continued. The moment passed, but the question did not. That night, Kieran returned to his house. A small place, quiet, too quiet. He cooked rice for one, ate slowly, sat in silence. On the wall hung an old photograph. His late wife stood beside him in it, smiling gently. She used to say he was stronger than he believed, that he carried more than he showed. Back then, he laughed it off. Now, standing alone in the dim light, those words returned with weight. For the first time in years, Kieran felt something unfamiliar. Not anger, not sadness, shame. Not for failing, but for never trying. The next morning, the bus arrived again. Same route, same stops. But something small had shifted. When Kieran called out the first stop, his voice was still soft, but clearer. A passenger questioned a fare. Kieran explained calmly. He didn't rush. He didn't retreat. His hands trembled slightly, but he stayed. It wasn't a transformation. No one clapped. No one noticed. Yet inside, something quiet but important began to form. Over the next few days, small tests appeared: a rude passenger, a confused tourist, a delayed schedule. Each moment offered a choice: step back or step forward just a little. Kieran didn't always succeed. Sometimes his voice shook, sometimes he hesitated, but he didn't disappear. And without realizing it, the bus began to feel different. Not louder, not faster, just steadier. But the real test had not arrived yet, because one evening, as dark clouds gathered over the road, the bus would stop again, and this time, everything would depend on whether Kieran stayed silent or finally stepped into the space he had avoided his entire life. If this story feels familiar, if you've ever stayed quiet even when you knew better, you may want to stay with Kieran a little longer. And if these quiet human stories speak to you, a simple like or subscription helps more people find them.